Love Across Latitudes. London, England, autumn 2018. Amelia Rowe had always loved the sound of rain tapping against her little window in Notting Hill. It was the music of her solitude. A literature professor at King's College, she had surrounded herself with vintage books, mahogany shelves, and a teapot that always whistled too soon. Her world was quiet, thoughtful, and deeply structured. Her days passed in pages, teaching Keats in the morning, sipping Earl Grey in the evenings, and reading Virginia Woolf at night. It was a life she had built alone, ever since James, the only man who truly knew her, left for New York with a goodbye note and a Miles Davis vinyl that still sat by her record player, untouched. But when her university announced a 6-month cultural exchange with the University of Melbourne, something stirred inside her. A restlessness. Maybe it was wanderlust, or maybe it was the loneliness she refused to name. Go, her best friend Clara urged. What's the worst that can happen? You fall in love with an Australian kangaroo? They had laughed, but when Amelia booked her flight, it wasn't a joke anymore. Melbourne, Australia, January 2019. Liam Carter didn't believe in love stories. As a marine biologist, he trusted only what could be measured: depths, temperatures, the silent secrets of coral reefs. He had salt in his hair, tan lines on his back, and a heart hardened by loss. His mother had died of cancer 5 years ago, and since then, love felt too fragile to touch. But his sister Claire was relentless. You're emotionally extinct, she teased over grilled barramundi one evening. You date sea turtles more than people. So when she forced him to a university mixer hosted for new exchange professors, Liam agreed only out of guilt. And that's where he saw her. Amelia stood near the rooftop balcony, holding a glass of Ross and a leather-bound notebook, dressed in tights and a long-sleeved blouse despite the 30-degree heat. She looked awkward and elegant at the same time, like a misplaced poem. Their eyes met. Just once. But something shifted. The first conversation. You don't look like you're from around here, Liam said, leaning against the railing beside her. Was it the accent or the tragic outfit? She replied with a smirk. Bit of both. I'm Liam. Amelia. They spoke until the stars replaced the sun. About Keats and coral, about the smell of British rain and the sound of Australian waves. He talked about whales. She recited Auden. Their worlds were different, but something invisible tethered them. What began with teasing turned into walks through the Royal Botanic Gardens, late-night poetry readings, and weekends on the Mornington Peninsula where he taught her to snorkel and she read him passages from Mrs. Dalloway. He found her mind intoxicating. She found his freedom poetic. Falling, Melbourne changed for Amelia. It became more than a city, it became a feeling. The tram bells, the scent of eucalyptus, the warm silence in Liam's car on coastal drives, all of it made her feel alive in ways London never had. Liam, too, changed. For the first time in years, he looked beyond the horizon and saw a future that wasn't lonely. He found comfort in her stillness. She grounded him. They kissed one evening by the ocean, under a sky scattered with southern stars. It was a kiss that felt like a promise, one neither of them dared to voice. The distance between two worlds, 3 months passed too quickly, and time, like tides, refused to stay. I thought I had more time, Amelia whispered one night on St. Kilda Beach, her fingers buried in the sand. So did I, Liam replied, holding her as the waves lapped at their ankles. She looked at him, her voice trembling. I have lectures starting in September. A promotion, tenure. It's everything I've worked for. And I have a reef conservation project in Cairns, he said, his voice heavy. The ocean doesn't take sabbaticals. They didn't fight. There was nothing to fight over. Just time. Just geography. When Amelia boarded the plane back to London, her heart stayed behind, buried somewhere between their favorite cafe and the coastline where they had once made love in the rain. Back in London, autumn 2019, Amelia returned to her rain-drenched city, but it no longer felt poetic. The books smelled stale. The lectures echoed. Even Clara noticed. "You're here," she said gently, "but your eyes aren't." Amelia dated again. Nice men. Men who owned bookstores and wore scarves indoors. But they didn't make her laugh with biology jokes. They didn't pull her into the ocean at midnight. They didn't see her. She tried to forget Liam. But love, real love, doesn't fade. It echoes in tea mugs, in forgotten voicemail drafts, in the way she still checked Melbourne's weather app for no reason. Meanwhile, in Melbourne, Liam immersed himself in his research. He spent weeks at sea, mapping reefs and saving sea turtles. But every sunset reminded him of Amelia's voice. Every page of The Tempest she'd once read aloud in bed haunted him. On his birthday, a package arrived. Brown paper. International stamps. Her handwriting. Inside, a first edition of To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. The note read, "Lighthouse helped the lost find their way home. I hope you find yours." Hey, he stared at it for hours, his hands trembling. The reunion, Edinburgh, Scotland, winter 2020. Amelia was invited to speak at a literary symposium in Edinburgh. A snow-covered city. Old stone buildings. Her kind of place. After her talk, she walked into a cozy pub for mulled wine. She sat near the fireplace, pulling out her notebook when, "Mind if I sit?" a familiar voice asked. She looked up. Liam, wearing a soaked wool coat, cheeks pink from the cold, hair still dripping, but his eyes were exactly the same. "I quit my job," he said breathlessly. "Took a marine position in Glasgow. I wasn't going to spend my life wondering what if." Her heart stopped. "You came back," she whispered. "No," he said, cupping her cheek. "I came forward. Toward you." She broke. All the tears she'd hidden since leaving Melbourne flowed freely. And in that little Scottish pub, they kissed like they had never left each other at all. Epilogue, Scottish Highlands, spring 2022. They now live in a small whitewashed cottage tucked between the sea and the green slopes of the Highlands. She writes novels in the mornings. He works with a marine NGO cleaning the North Sea. They argue over dish soap. They make love under cold moonlight. They drink too much tea. They laugh. They love. Every single day. Because when love survives oceans and time zones, it doesn't just visit. It stays. Final line. Love across latitudes isn't about crossing continents. It's about choosing the same heart, no matter where in the world it beats.